the neutral fan, I think. It is what it is. There are worse clubs in with bigger problems than us right now, I figure. Considering all the drama that we've got surrounding the club on the pitch, I think it could be a lot worse. So, I will. No one likes going into the international break, though. No fan of any club having not won. But we've managed to 2 games on the trot without losing before an international break, which is a tradition that we've had for far too long. Lubo, over to you, son.
Yeah, no, I hope everyone likes this Michelin style podcast now. That's how we're branding ourselves. Well, we didn't lose, did we?
No.
And we played at home.
Yeah.
So things are improving.
Oh, is that the way to be looking at this? Is that the way to be approaching a game of football against the dustiest of dusty teams in Manchester United? Well, we didn't lose. That's good enough. Settings.
Sure, we started the weekend before the league fixtures in 6th and we finished in 5th. And that, at the moment, with the coefficient, is a Champions League spot. So,
for crying
it's 2
out loud,
points separating 3rd from about 15th in the league, Johnny, Lubo. It's ridiculous.
We're 8 off the top and 8 off the relegation zone. That's how tight it is this season. But you know what? I'd rather be where we are than where 15 other clubs are. So
exactly, Lubo. You tell them.
It's true. Good to see you, Lubo. Good to see you, Johnny. Stel, freshman, you're cooking on Thursday. How are you feeling? You on the chefs? You on the tools tonight?
It's on the chef's table.
I'm the head chef. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Subscribe, like in the comments. Get your super chats in. Get your comments in. Sean, you do not get a free pass tonight because you predicted a Man United win. And I'd like to remind you, your boy Muani in front of goal yet again. We will talk about it tonight, though. You do not get a free pass. No chance.
No, if you're going to come at me for, I don't know how it's my boy Muani. It's more Johnny's boy Muani. If we're being honest, but if you're going to talk about who my boys are,
against Man United, I said he's rubbish in front of goal.
We got a mutiny in the kitchen here.
Hang on a second. I'm going to come at him with a kitchen knife, right? Hang on a minute. Muani is fucking shit. Muani who signed him. Listen.
Yeah. What did he do against Man United? What did he do?
Hang on a second. Welcome, Harry Maguire, elbow to the fucking jaw. Sorry, mate.
Before he got elbowed, what did he do?
Mate,
Odobert and Tell did more in 15 minutes than Muani did for all the minutes he was on the pitch.
Right, sorry, who did more? Who did more?
Odobert and Tell.
My Odobert, and you mean my Tell?
That doesn't deflect from Muani, right? Listen, we will discuss all these players. Another deflected goal from Tell. Well done. Another deflected effort.
Still, joking aside, come on, mate. I said straight that I jumped up when that happened. And I said, why is there no VAR? It was the oldest one in the book from the 70s and 80s, straight out the Wimbledon playbook. Who's the danger? Take him out the game. Elbow to the face, off the ball, right? Yep. Off the ball. And he was on that ground, and I knew straight away there was a problem. And you could see he was struggling with that for the rest of the time. But when he came off at half time, they said, he's taking him off because he was shit. I said, there was more to it. I said, he's injured. No one was having it. Now he's out for 8 weeks with a broken jaw. So, I'm not going to have that he was shit after that.
Before that knock, he did nothing.
The knock happened in the 10th minute, Stel.
10 minutes, Stel.
So why has he stayed on the pitch then?
Because he tried to battle it out, mate.
And paid the price for that. We paid the price for him wanting to stay on the pitch then.
Well, we didn't actually, still, because we only had one.
We did. We went 1-0 down.
Hang on. That wasn't down to Muani, and the only attack we had that was decent was Johnson's cross that Richie forgot to put his head on. So,
they had one shot on target.
We were down to 10 men from the 10th minute, if we're going to go by your logic. And after that 10th minute, we went.
Oh, how you can blame Muani? He's played on, mate.
I'm blaming the fact
in this day and age where they go off with that. Oh, my shoulder hurt. Oh, my finger hurt.
Johnny, you can't on the one hand defend him for being taken off because he's injured, but yet his injury that he stubbornly stayed on the pitch for meant that we were down to 10 men. The reason he played bad in the first half is because he's injured. Then you've cost us for making us play with 10 men effectively.
You've got strange logic, mate. Honestly,
I'm using your logic.
You want to cook a guy for getting smashed in the face and trying to carry on in the game.
I don't blame him for being injured, and I don't blame for him going off because he's injured. But if you are injured, then you've chosen to stay on the pitch. So either do something. What Heung-min Son had a broken arm and he scored a goal against Aston Villa away. That's the difference. He stayed on the pitch and we went 1-0 down.
Mate,
hang on. Because obviously you got smashed in the face, a broken jaw. You know, you may not know it's a broken jaw. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Like the logic states if you're not feeling it, get off the pitch, right? Because I think Stale's making a logical point. But with adrenaline, sometimes you think you can run it off. Other times, it's in your jaw. It's not going to affect how you run necessarily. But obviously, at half time, he's been asked a question. Someone's had a look at him, given him the, one of those, and then gone, maybe this is a problem.
Okay, so whilst it wasn't a problem, he did nothing in that first half. Absolutely.
No one else did as well, though. Nobody. The first half was.
But no one else was bigging up the other players. We know they're not good. No one here has bigged up Johnson and Richarlison, but Muani's been given a lot of love. He's going to score goals. Do you know what?
Okay, so here's what I would say. Here's what I will say then. The strategy, the tactic.
Getting receipts from you, mate, when he comes back.
Johnny, do you know what? By the time he comes back another 8 weeks, we're well over half a season. He would have played half a season for Spurs, having scored nothing. Nothing.
Well, he won't have played half a season. He'll have been a Tottenham employee for half a season, but he would have played about 90 minutes of football.
3 games.
Fine. He's been at Spurs for half a season, some injured, some not injured, but he's not done anything.
3 games.
He hasn't scored any goals. He hasn't scored any goals.
Still, we haven't even seen Takai yet in the squad.
Listen, I'm talking about Muani because everyone told. Look, I like Muani. I think he's a good player. Personally, I think we should play him out left. I think you should play him out wide.
He did try out left. He did.
I've been.
Hang a second, still. No. See, you've just handed over the chef tools to me. For the last month, you've been saying about as positive as we can get out of you is to say give Odobert an extended run of games on the left-hand side, and tonight you're saying play him out on the left.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is if we're going to play Muani, I think he's better suited out wide.
Ahead of Odobert.
Well, personally, I think Odobert should be given a run in the game, and I've been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks. I've never budged from that.
Or what position? Or whereabouts?
Listen, if we're going to play with the front three, I think Muani, the way he plays, I think he's more of an inside forward, where he can pick the ball up out wide and invert, as opposed to be the sole number 9. I don't look at him and think you're a number 9. He reminds me of those typical French players like a Trezeguet and Henry, slim, tall, good technique, that is better out wide coming in.
If it's a fraction of Henry, I'll be quite happy.
Yeah, I'm giving an example of players that were French, tall, technical, but played wide and inverted. And I think Muani is of that mould. I don't look at Muani and think you are an out-and-out striker. I can see
he can play off of the flanks and invert. I can hear that. He could play with the striker.
That's what I'm saying. Because I don't think in front of goal he's the answer. Then again, nobody is at the moment. So
yeah, I think every single player at Tottenham who plays up top seems to want to be an inside forward. Most of them off the left. Very few of them can do it. We need someone to play in the 9. And we're going to come to that. We're going to spend a little bit more time talking about injuries in a different segment of the show. But I do also want to focus, just for the time being, on the Manchester United game, not fully on Kolo Muani. Obviously, Kolo Muani is part of this problem. But for me, I thought that the starting 11 was wrong. And I thought that the setup of the team was wrong. I did criticise Thomas Frank for many things on Saturday afternoon. One of them was the criticism of leaving Richarlison on the pitch and taking Kolo Muani off. I didn't know then what I know now. I had no idea there was an injury. I had no idea there was an incident. I don't remember seeing it on TNT. So I retract that part of my criticism because obviously now with that knowledge, it makes more sense. But I still felt like the team was set up incorrectly. And I want to hear your thoughts on it, guys. I feel like Tottenham Hotspur was set up more fearful of Manchester United's threats against us than the threats that we could pose them. And
was
I think
it Man United's though, Sean? Just to counter that, were Manchester United, who normally play 3 at the back, seemed to have started with 4 at the back, and in some cases it was 5 at the back in a line in that first half. And we seemed to, it looked to me like we negated each other. I mean, they had 1 shot in the entire first half, of which we more or less gifted them, well, twice or 3 times, and we didn't have 1 shot on goal. It felt like we cancelled each other out. It was almost checkmate on the pitch. It was just shit.
Yeah, it didn't need to be that way though. Before the game played itself, listen, Manchester United are bang average. Everyone waxing lyrical about their comeback, the resurgence because they beat 3 teams. Yes, they went through a bit of form, but they're still a dusty team in my opinion. And at home, you have to, against very occasional teams, you have to sit there and recognise the obvious golfing class or the supremacy of one team over the other. Man United are not one of those teams. And to play Jed Spence, which then, in my opinion, means that if you're going to play Jed Spence, you then don't necessarily need to play Odobert because the Odobert value is in the chemistry that Udogie can provide him, etc. But if you're playing Jed Spence, it's an assumption, it's an acknowledgement that you're more concerned about players like Mbumo than you are what you can do to players like Mazraoui. And I thought that it was a massively poor statement from Thomas Frank once again at home that setting up not to lose was more important than trying to win.
I have to agree with that. I'm very pro Frank. I think he's doing a really good job. But I've got to agree that there was, having seen Udogie and Odobert in recent weeks playing down that left, for me, he should have started. And you saw the difference in the team when those 2 came on. Odobert came on, I think, on 46, and Udogie was on 69, I think. Different 60th minute, different class.
Udogie came on at 46, did you say?
Odobert came on at half time for
Odobert, yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought you meant Udogie.
For Muani. And for me, it looked so much better. And what was great was seeing Odobert take on his fullback in the last 15, 20 minutes and skin him every single time. And this is what we've been wanting Odobert to do. No, you're going like this. Sorry, I mentioned him a little while ago, Sean.
No. Sorry, I was doing this to the comment.
Oh, the comment. Sean is Frank out. No, Sean.
Not to you, Lubo. Not to you.
No. Sean is Enoch out. Let's get that straight. It's not Frank out.
I'm new Nick Doubt is what I am. I'm new Nick Doubt. There you go. That better. Meet you in the middle.
For me, my Odobert is doing well.
Your Odobert. Behave.
He's really coming through. Listen,
Sean,
I'll share Odobert with you. I'll say half of my Odobert. You didn't share your chairman with me, did you?
Tell's the big question mark is over Tell. I don't think anyone's doubting Odobert's talent. None of us.
Some people are.
I think
very much are. Some people have their opinions.
I thought we've got the worst attacking lineup in the history of Tottenham.
Tell is terrible, in my opinion. At this present moment, Tell is terrible. I thought basically the game changed, though, guys, when their most influential person in the middle of the park, Casemiro, went off. That final 20 minutes when he went off, Casemiro was absolutely bossing the game in the middle of the park. We were getting nothing. The game changed when he went off and we made our substitutions and we looked like a different team.
They also went down to 10 men with 10 men.
No, I'm just saying, you look at the gameplay, watch it back. Casemiro, when Casemiro plays, Man United are a different team to when he plays and when he doesn't play. Controls the tempo and everything, moves the ball, is in transitions. And he was very, very good. I mean, I know most of us are watching the Spurs team, but for me, he was having an excellent game in the middle of the park until he went down injured. And then when he went down, we took control of the middle of the park. I felt they didn't have any answers. Mason Mount came on and to replace him, didn't do anything. We played right through him. look, I think there's pluses and minuses to everything. You know, Odobert was a plus. Matches Tell scoring a goal was a plus, even though it was a deflected goal, because confidence breeds confidence. But there were lots of negatives. We saw the old Kuti Romero see red after we conceded the goal. Him and Mickey van der Ven were screaming at Papa Sarr. He then makes a shocking challenge that, had he connected a bit more, could have been a red. You know, we saw lots of positives. We saw lots of negatives. We saw Pedro Porro have an absolute stinker, and it just got worse. And it got worse. He couldn't cross the ball, couldn't throw a ball, couldn't defend a ball.
Yeah, what's going on there, Johnny? Do you think it's just overworked? Is he tired?
Yeah. Listen, before the game, I said, right, my team was Jed Spence on the right-hand side, Dogie on the left, and then Odobert on the left. And I would have dropped Brennan Johnson for sure. Wouldn't have been playing Brennan Johnson. And I would have been playing Pedro Porro on the right wing. And I wouldn't have needed him to keep beating his man. What's name never beats his man, that's for sure, Brennan Johnson. But what Pedro Porro can do, a bit like a Perisic, he doesn't need to always beat his man to whip the ball in. And I felt like we would have had a lot more defensive solidarity down that right-hand side without being defensive. But it wasn't to be. I wasn't happy with the lineup, if I'm brutally honest. But, you know, it is what it is.
He's never going to be that risk taker, is he, Frank, at the moment?
I don't even afford to be just now, do you think?
Well, no, in terms of playing Porro down the right and Spencer right back.
Johnson.
Which makes sense. I mean, listen, we played with 8 men in the first half. If Muani's been done in because of his jaw and you've got Richarlison and Johnson there, we are in effect playing with 8 men. And that's where we are. So for me, at the Emirates, I'd be playing a front three, hopefully, of Kudus, Tell and Odobert. For me, no question about it. I wouldn't have. He won't play that. He'll play Richarlison.
Odobert where? Sorry,
on the left.
And Tell in the 9.
And Tell as the 9.
Right. Did you know that Xavi has played 11 games as a centre forward and apparently has 6 goals and 4 assists? Apparently.
I worry about Xavi at the Emirates. I think he might physically. I think they'll steamroller over him.
Yeah, fucking Rice. They'll just lean on him.
That's right.
Yeah, and can I ask you, whoever's looking after, whoever runs, he's got his boots or is watching him. Can someone get him a pair of fucking studs? I've never seen a guy slip over as many times as him. Just Stell, have you ever seen anyone? He's constantly slipping over. His legs doing akimbo, mate. Wear some proper studs.
Sorry, Stell. I've just seen this in the background. I just wanted to bring this up. This is a WhatsApp of you saying, if we do not beat United, if we do not beat Man United, I am going to cook every single one of you, and I expect Perchmeister to be creating similar thumbnails, is it, or similar clips?
Yeah.
Stell, you took it like a champion, mate. You took it like a champion. To be honest, that was my fault. Perchy said, I can only find a couple of clips. What do you think? And I said, there's probably another one in there.
Look at Perchy's reply. And when we win, not if, when we win, it's a second cooking session. Where are you, Perchy? Where are you? I want a clip of me calling you out, Perchy.
Can I ask you, was Stell in the chat, was Stell the only Spurs fan at the stadium who cheered when the 97th minute goal went in from Matthew De Ligt, so he was right and he didn't have to face the criticism today?
With all due respect, all the other Spurs fans were busy booing. So at least I'm not in the booing camp. Do you know what? Do you know that booing in that stadium is so fucking toxic, man. Terrible,
isn't it? Terrible.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
It's just.
At least he didn't do this, Stell. When the subs actually made an impact, unlike our old manager giving Chelsea.
Nah, listen. For me, there's a couple of things from this game. I said all along we wouldn't win because at home we've got an issue. And Man United away from home, they've got an issue. And in the end, we nullified each other. That first half was absolutely rubbish from both teams. I was so bored out of my mind watching that game. And do you know what? I can't help but think. We hounded Conte out of this club, right? We, as a fan base, we hounded him out of this club. And I backed Conte to the end. All the Tottenham away boys, to be fair, did. We were the only channel that did. And we hounded him out because the football was, as a lot of fans called it, turgid. His football's turgid. And we hounded him out, yet he got us top 4 and left us top 4. Frank's here. Listen, I'll be honest with you guys, whether it's down to injuries, whether it's down to him, whatever the reason. So far, the football under Frank, for me, is just boring as hell.
But yeah, Kane and Son. Conte
also had the worst midfield I've ever seen. And we never signed Paulinias and Kuduses and Muanis. We signed Danjumas and Longlays. So you can counter it.
That was at the end, mate.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, Højbjerg, Kane, Son.
The football under Frank is fucking boring, man.
It's horrendous football.
And I don't mind that because I backed Conte when the football was boring on the basis that I believed he could take us forward if backed. Okay, we didn't want to back him. He turned on the club as well. He wanted out. But the point is, we've hounded many a manager out for crap football. Right now, the football is crap. I'm not saying hound Frank out because every manager deserves a season. But I'm just saying the football's boring and he is too cautious for me. I do think he plays too cautious. He might have 100%. Good reasons for it. And whilst we're in the top 6, the argument's going to be, but look, we're top 6, calm yourself down. That's going to be the counter argument. But as a spectacle, he seems to be allowed to play crap football whilst all previous other managers got absolutely ruined by this fan base. That's one thing that just, I was thinking about it in the terraces during the game, thinking, you know, this is crap. And we're accepting it. I do think that the starting lineup was wrong. And I do think that if you're going to be at home, there was a moment where Xavi Simons got the ball. He's driving down the middle. He's surrounded by 3 red shirts. And every Spurs fan's thinking, pass it, release it. He looked around, no runners.
And who was right behind him? Who was right behind him still?
I can't remember.
Pape Sarr and Bentancur, neither of them. It was so clear. It was so clear that they weren't. Sorry, I got Bentancur, Polinia and Sarr.
They're told to hold back.
I keep saying that. I keep making those mistakes.
They're told to hold back.
They are told to hold back. 100%.
No, I can see it. And this is what I meant about when I said on previous shows, the passage of play needs to change. And we're not going to get the best out of Simons until we change that passage of play. And that game for me was so evident. I don't think Xavi Simons was as wow as people made him out to be. There was no outcomes. There was no killer passes. There was no assists. There was no shots on goal. However, when he got on the ball, his touch, his play, you could see his brain is thinking the right things. But to the left and right, there wasn't the same intellectual football wavelength happening.
You've got Brennan Johnson, Brennan Johnson's awful, can't do anything.
Johnson was walking. Johnson was walking up the wing. Mate, and this is what I mean.
But can I ask you, Stel, just to throw in here, Stel?
Yeah.
How many, forget the 11, how many of that 10, right, would you say that 30% of the 10 that are out right now would make a big difference to how we play up front? Like, for example, if we had a Solanke, if we had a Kulu, just 2 of those.
Kulu, right? Madison.
No, just 2. Just
Mohamed
2.
Kudus. I think they definitely link up better with Xavi Simons. There's no
3,
doubt.
Right. We'll take 3. We just say Kudus.
Kudus has been a part of the team, Johnny, until the last.
But Johnny, hold on,
mate. You're saying that
the thing is though. But Johnny, the thing is though, we don't have those players, so you've got to go to an alternative. And for me, if we're going to be a bit more attacking,
Are they good enough still?
Udogie has to play, and I repeat, can we just stick with one left winger and just stick at it and stick at it and stick at it? Even if they have a bad game.
You just stuck Muani out left.
If you're going to play Muani, I think his best position will be left wing. But I've got no issue, and I've said it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Just play Odobert there and let the coach coach. You can't coach a player unless they play matches. You can do whatever you want at the training pitch, but you've got to let them express that on the football pitch in a match. Even if he has a bad game, that's fine. Coach him as to why it was bad. Set challenges to rectify the next game. But what we do is, he plays, we pull him out. He plays, we pull him out. And it's things like that affects us on the attack, because the front line, there's too much chopping and changing. We just need to stick with one.
We got a choice now. We got a choice.
Hang on a second. We got to just be. Thomas Frank.
I'm not saying stick with the exact same lot every week.
I agree with you. I agree with you on Odobert. Odobert should have playing. If the narrative is that Johnny and a lot of people want to make out that we can't do any better than what we have, right? I don't buy it for a second. I'm sorry, it's a load of nonsense.
No, I didn't.
By the way,
let
me finish my point, mate. By the way, kudos to the football club for creating enough depth in our squad where we have 11 players out injured, and we can still have someone like Johnson, who, whether we like him or hate him, I know he's a divisive player. He was our top goal scorer last year and scored in the Champions League final. A Brazilian number 9 on the left wing, right? And a £55 million, one of the top kids around Europe a couple of years ago, Xavi Simons, and a Kolo Muani, who was a £90 million striker. 11 players out, or 10 players out injured, and we've still got that amount of depth at the top end of the pitch where we've already got 5 players out. First of all, kudos to the football club for putting that depth in. If we did have a full strength squad, it would be quite incredible, the amount of options. I don't think we have any superstars in there. Then we need a few more. I think we definitely need a few more superstars. But just on the specifics of the system, if the idea is, well, you've got Johnson because you've got no Kudus. And by the way, if we're saying that the reason why we can't play attacking football is because we haven't got Kudus, what has been the excuse for the previous 9 games where he has been there? Because we haven't played attacking football at all this season. So this Kudus absence thing is a new thing. It doesn't explain the prior defensive football. Almost done, Johnny.
Right.
But you've got Johnson and Richarlison, and you've got Kolo Muani, who you can't get the ball to. There's a by design to sit there and make Sarr and Palhinha not go ahead of Xavi Simons. Xavi gets, quote-unquote, stinker and hooked every game. But what is he supposed to do when he's got absolutely no support from the players behind him by design, and he has players on the wings that can't take a player on, and a striker who in this particular game is getting crowded out by 3 centre-backs? One of the solutions, to Stell's point, is that you play to what you do have, and unless you sit there and you're going, well, I can't do any better than what we have, so let's just sacrifice the entire intent to go and score a goal, why not play the more attacking of the 2 fullbacks, Destiny Udogie? Why not play the more attacking of the wingers who has the chemistry to be able to break some sort of semblance of a breakdown of a defensive block in Odobert? The fact we didn't do it, again, goes back to my point that Thomas Frank saw Manchester United as being far too much of a threat for us to do anything other than defensive harimble. And to me, I think it's absolutely outrageous. And I think it personally stems from Thomas Frank still being Brentford settings, where he thinks a point against Manchester United, dusty old United at home, is a good result. And by the way, he spoke to that after the game. He said, we played really well and it's a really good point. What are we doing here? Sorry, it's unacceptable to me to keep playing that sort of football.
Frank out. Listen, if you don't think that this team would be better with having a fit Solanke or a fit 2 or 3 of the 10, forget the 11, the 10 that are out, you can clearly see, even if you had a Kulu and a Solanke and a Kudus with Xavi, that's going to be better. Even a Kulu and Xavi will be better. We are linked, right? I can't listen to the fact. Look, when I watched that Chelsea game, right, I was as pissed off as anybody else. That Chelsea game reminded me of AC Milan, Conte game, AC Milan. We're 1 down, and what do? We bring on defenders, right? That's how mad I felt that day, and that's how mad I was in the Chelsea game. So I understand the outrage and some of the feelings towards how we're playing at the moment. But to say there is no reason at all for not being offensive and not scoring hatfuls of goals and playing exciting football, when we've got most of our exciting attackers and our creative talent off the pitch. I do believe if we had a Kulu, a Kudus,
Johnny, that doesn't excuse what's happening with the current players.
30% better.
Yeah, but that doesn't excuse that. That doesn't excuse the fact that what we're doing with the current players. Richarlison starts on the left.
Right, so you want Richarlison dropped. Right.
No, one at a time, guys. One at a time.
In what world, in any manager's head, is starting Richarlison on the left over Odobert make any sense whatsoever when we know Odobert is a manager? Right. Well,
so you drop Richarlison. Everyone wants Richarlison dropped, and they want Scarlett.
But we're saying
majority.
I'm trying to tell you, the argument is we're going to be much better when these players come back. I don't disagree. Yeah. But with the players we've got now, in what world does it make sense to start Richarlison on the left when you've got Odobert fit? In what world does it make sense to keep playing Johnson on the right when he can't play well on the right? He never plays well on the right. He has a stinker every time he plays on the right. If you're going to play him like Nottingham Forest did, down the middle behind the striker. That's the only place he played.
What striker? Behind what striker?
Well, Muani started, didn't he?
Richie or Muani or whoever.
In this game just now. And you don't.
No, Johnny, in the game just now, he could have gone Johnson behind Muani. He could have started Odobert out on the left. He could have pushed Porro further up the pitch and played.
Who are you playing against Arsenal?
The point I'm trying to make it. We'll get on to that in a minute. We're changing the subject here. The point I'm trying to make is we could have got more from an attacking phase with the players we have than what we did with that starting lineup. That's what I'm trying to say. But we don't do it. We go to the same type every time. Odobert gets hooked. Richarlison, he has to start no matter what now. Johnson, no matter how bad he is, keep playing him on the right. Porro, who we know isn't having a good season at right back, but we know he's not too bad further up the pitch. We never play him there. Xavi's always left isolated. I just think there is a better way of setting up the team with a different team selection that gets more from the attacking phase.
100%.
I'm not saying this is the answer for Tottenham going forward, because it's not. But for now, until the transfer window opens and until we get some players back, I just think there's a better way to set up.
You do realise Man United went defensive, right? You know, they changed their structure and went defensive, right? Okay, at the back, right? They played 4 at the back. And you also know that Richarlison played left wing in the final, just for clarity.
The worst final we've ever seen.
I'm just saying to you, in the history of football finals. He played there a lot for Ange.
He's not good at it, is he? He's not good.
Especially when you have, he can't take a player on. He can barely trap a bag of cement. He's got trampoline most of the time. And on the right-hand side, you have Johnson, who's equally as bad as taking a player on. If you've lost Kudus, who is our outlet, and you have to play Johnson or you have to replace Kudus with someone, why would you make the same decision around a tactical pivot on the left where you'd put on a player? You're basically saying, fuck the width.
Oh, I said get rid of Johnson, didn't I? And play Pedro Porro on the wing. And
right. Okay, so you're acknowledging that. So that's fine. We all have different opinions on how it looks, but we can all agree that the setup at the moment, yes, it's forced. He's forced into difficult situations and few options because we have an unbelievably long injury list, as usual at Tottenham. But there are other ways that he can go about it, and the way that he's going about it is dedicating us into playing absolutely horrendous football at home against a team that we've had the betterment of for the last, in fact, any team from Manchester. We own Manchester. Yet on Saturday, we were set up like they were Real Madrid. And they weren't. You're right, Johnny. They did go defensive. And that's why it became an absolute stalemate of a ball fest for 85 minutes. It was only when Man United went down to 10 men because they ran out of substitutions that the game opened up.
I think Amorim got it wrong as well, by the way.
He played 3 at the back all season. Since he's come there, he said, I'm dying on this hill. I will always be 3 at the back. And he came here and he's playing 4 and 5 at the back.
Well, 3 at the back and 5 at the back are the same thing. It's just
5 in a line, mate. He was having it.
But that's what they dropped to 5 at the back when they don't have the ball anyway. It's what most teams do.
It was like, and look how deep Casemiro was sat in the front of them.
Johnny, there were some positives from this game from my perspective as well. The fact that we came back from a 1-0 deficit to get into a winning position, I thought was very good, because quite often when we go 1-0 down, we struggle. So that was really positive. I think it's the first time I've seen that under Frank, where we're chasing and we find a way through. I also thought that when that striker, what's his name, Sesko, when he got put through, it was a really good move from Man United. He went through 1-on-1. I was sitting right behind that. That tackle by Van der Ven to stop him getting the shot away was absolutely sublime. If that was Saliba, if that was Van Dijk, everyone would be waxing lyrical. Van der Ven showed he can make a tackle, and he's not just about these sprinting recovery runs. It was an outstanding tackle. The whole South Stand started singing his name. It was that was an excellent piece of play. And the other thing is, I thought that for the first time, I can honestly say, Odobert did the one thing I've said that he needs to show me, and that was output. Yeah, output. Beat the man. Get the cross in, a dangerous cross. Find a white shirt in the box. Don't just aimlessly smash it in there. Get a shot on target. I think Odobert would have scored that goal if Richie never stole it from the header. I thought it was curling in personally, but that's what I need to see from my attackers. Output, assists, shots on target, beating the man, crosses that successfully get to a Spurs shirt. And he showed that. And you know what? Hopefully we see more of that from him, because if he does, maybe we've solved the left winger. Maybe that is the solution to the left wing.
Do you think Odobert? Because I'm looking at Odobert.
It's only one game. He's got to do it more.
I think Odobert's
one game. He's improved since the Leeds game.
I know, but I think
that was his best game in terms of output.
I do think the way Odobert plays, I think Odobert potentially will be a better deliverer than Mohamed Kudus, in the sense that he looks to bring others into play. Kudus, for me, I've said this right from the off. I said it when he was at West Ham before we signed him. He hangs on to the ball too long. Sometimes he doesn't lay off a pass, look for the quick 1-2 to break down a defence. And I think that Odobert was, before Muani went off, that link-up play with Xavi and Muani up front looked full of promise. And I think that he could be, one of our better players, but we still need a left-sided attacker. You can't, if he goes out, right, if he's injured, then we're in more dog do, right?
100%. But yeah, listen, we all definitely know that we all need a lot more options.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, like having a squad of 20, I'll bring Lubo in now. Sorry, Lubo, for maybe waiting. I know we've got a squad of 25, but Tottenham always, under Thomas Frank, both seasons under Ange and under Conte, we have got a ridiculous problem with our injuries. Like we could have a squad of, it would take a squad of 40 to get to a squad of 25 that are actually available. It's mad how our injury curse just carries on. Sorry, Lubo, come in, mate.
No, just to say, firstly, to some of the guys in the chat, I have no agenda. I want players to do well. What I'm fed up with seeing players giving really poor performances week in, week out. Richarlison and Johnson, for me, are two of the worst players. Yes, Johnson scored plenty of goals last season, but Ange was playing a different system to Frank. And the way Frank doesn't set up where every ball goes across the box and Johnson's coming in from the back post. I think Johnson's got one goal like that where we broke away at Man City this season. And he came in from the left and he took it well. But for me, Johnson doesn't do enough. Richarlison, I think, he was decent in Bilbao. He had a good game against PSG. Burnley scored twice, played well at Man City. And we're all thinking, do you know what? Brazilian number 9, World Cup season, here we go. And since then, his form's fallen off a cliff. Yes, he took the goal on Saturday and he picked up on the rebound at Brighton. But otherwise, he has been appalling. And, I feel sorry for Kudus. Kudus holds on to the ball, Johnny, too long because you've got no one to give it to.
Mate. Same at West Ham.
He's got no one to give it to.
Same at West Ham. Ask any West Ham fan, they will tell you exactly the same. They told me before we signed him, you're welcome to him. He's a talented guy, holds on to the ball too long, too greedy, doesn't play others in, right? He had 3 assists, 3 goals and 1 assist, or 3 assists and 1 goal, whatever it was last season. He's playing with Jared Bowen. He's playing with other players. It's not like he doesn't play with anybody. And this was West Ham fans right at the beginning when we were linked to him.
And
right?
what about the year before,
sorry,
Johnny?
Lubo, how are we saying that Odobert has the ability to link up play, but that Kudus doesn't? Half of Odobert's link ups. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of the relationship with Udogie, which is fine. I know that Porro works with Porro has never struggled to have a relationship with any person in front of him. Never. In all of the right wingers we've had over the last 3 seasons that he's been with us, he's always worked out how to fit in. What he does with Kudus in front of him, he gives the ball to him, knowing that he's going to do his thing, and then if he ends up running out of space, he'll just sit back and wait and get the ball back and then whip it in. But there's an option there for Kudus to do more with Porro if Kudus was to want to. And as far as Odobert linking up play, I think it's more obvious that Odobert and Xabi Simons get on very well. Odobert has had a relationship with Matisse Tell when he's played, starting last season and coming into this season, and Kolo Muani in the last couple of games. Those players could all equally have relationships with Kudus. But I agree with Johnny. It's not a problem because at the moment we don't have too many options, and he's very good at keeping onto the ball, keeping hold of the ball. He has got sticky feet, so it's not always a problem. But if we're going to call a spade and fine tune, overanalyze everybody, I think you have to also, take the bitter with the better with Kudus. He is a good player, but his weakness is his selfishness.
Well, I honestly feel sorry for him because he's had nothing pretty much to work with for most of the season up front. Just nothing. It's, we look
Why
at
can't
it.
Xabi Simons drift right and connect with him?
Well, Simmons has had a couple of decent games in the last week and he had a little nice cameo at Brighton. Apart from that, he's been crap. He hasn't settled in at all,
Pedro Porro and him. Pedro Porro and him were trying to link down. Look, I'm not slagging Kudus off, but I can see Kudus could be a better player than the player that we're looking at right now.
With better players, Johnny, with better players, he'll respond,
100%, but he's still got to cut the greed. There are times where he completely overplays the ball. I think defensively, he's fantastic. His work rate defensively is superb. But going forward, there's so many incidences where a simple pass to the left to playing a player, and he's got his head down and he's trying to keep hold of the ball. I'm not interested in you trying to take on 7 players or 6 players and still hold on to the ball. Fantastic, right? It would be great if you drew 3 players and then you pass the ball off and then create the space for others. What's his goal and assists this season? Richie's got a 7 GA and he's been shit. What is Kudus?
I'm pretty sure Kudus has got 1 goal in the Premier League and I think 3 assists in the Prem and 1 assist and 1 assist in Europe or something.
For your 4 assists, 1 goal.
1 assist,
1 goal.
Yeah.
But
I also think we have to also maybe consider the fact that Kudus is asked to go and win corner kicks. I said this a long time ago. It was the first thing that I noticed about our setup under Thomas Frank and then it became more and more obvious with the fact that we would only push Bentancur and Paulinho and those types of players up for set pieces, for Danzo's long throws or for corner kicks. A lot of the time, Kudus stands, when he receives the ball, he stands at a standstill, literal standstill with the left back a couple of feet away from him, and then he'll drop his shoulder and he'll beat him on a one-on-one to get some space, but deliberately to try to get the corner from a deflected cross into a corner situation so that we could play the boys up the top. And the times when he wasn't, when the fullback didn't get there in time, he was whipping the ball in and there was nobody there. There was one, maybe Richarlison was in the box, around 4 or 5 players around him. So I think it was by design that Kudus was trying to get the corner kicks. And so maybe on that basis, he's been told, get the ball to Kudus and let him do his thing. Take the man on and then hope for a corner kick because that's where we can be dangerous.
If we've got a top centre forward, we've been lacking a top centre forward. Muani hasn't been fit up to now, fully fit. And now, obviously, he's missing for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Richarlison, for me, he may have a 7 GA, but sorry, Johnny, he's nowhere near the level we should have.
I didn't say it was, mate. I didn't
No. I didn't say you did. I'm just saying that
you said
7 GA for me. Okay, it's decent, but when you look at it, when you take stats out and you look at what you're seeing, what you're watching.
Yeah, the eye test. And that's why with Kudus, I get you. And that's why I'm saying with Kudus, right, you can tell me how great he is with the eyes, but on the opposite flank, right, he hasn't delivered enough. For a guy 55 million, 1 goal and 3 assists in the league isn't enough, Lubo. That's all I'm saying. I hear what you're saying about.
Do you know what? Some good players really show how good they are when they're surrounded by like-minded players to link up, which is what Lubo's saying. Then other good players, they don't need to be surrounded by quality. Give an example. Letizia. He was in a very average Southampton team, always shone, always delivered, always stood out.
Straight. He was a maestro.
So some players need to be around better players. Others, they're just good. Doesn't matter. Just give me the ball. I know what to do. So with Kudus, I lean more with Johnny on this one. And Sean actually. I do think he holds on to the ball too long. And I do think that he should release the ball sooner or make his decisions quicker. Having said that, if he did have better players around him, I think he would release it more. Because I'm not confident Kudus trusts his teammates. I'm not confident he trusts a lot of his teammates, which you don't get to choose that. You just got to. That's the whole point. And let the coach deal with the player once they get the ball. So if he does...
He only passes it when he's run out of options, doesn't he?
Basically, yeah. Or when... It's so difficult to judge him just yet. But
I've got to say
he can release the ball earlier. But again, if you don't trust your players, you're probably just thinking, what's the point?
Still, you look at the performances up to date for this season, and for me, you got the 2 centre backs, Kudus and Polina, have been head and shoulders above everybody else.
Really. And then, by the way, can I say another thing about this game? Stuart Pearce has got no right whatsoever to slag off Christian Romero when Stuart Pearce hasn't won a sausage in his life. A loser criticising a winner. Mate, win something and then criticise someone.
He had a hard week, Stel. He's lost his son. I'm going to let him off. I was going to start tweeting something along those lines, but the fact that he's lost his son in a tractor accident, I think I'll have to give him a complete pass for the rest of the year. I'd rather touch into Gary Neville. Accident. What's that?
He lost his son in a tractor accident. Is that
true?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
My condolences to him, his family, and everyone. And you know what? That's just not a nice, thing to happen to anybody. Specifically on his comments, though, I don't think when Thierry Henry is on Sky Sports or TNT and he's criticising or praising an attacker, you fucking listen.
Yeah,
he's won everything. He's won the lot.
As well, though, still, isn't he? He's quite balanced.
You listen to him because he's won the lot. If I'm trying to think of if Maldini is sitting there talking to you about Romero, you listen. It's Maldini. I just don't think players that haven't really achieved much in the game should criticise players that have actually achieved something. I just find it so frustrating. And then the fans jump on it. Right, let's smash Romero. Let's go for Romero. Do you know what? I actually, Mari from our panel.
Just quickly, still, if we're embedding that rule around only people that have achieved more can criticise, then we all should shut up shop and go home.
Yeah. I'm not saying. Look, it's freedom of speech. You can criticise. You can say what you want. Absolutely, Sean, you're spot on with that, right? Yeah, just shut it down. Fuck this. Shut it down. No. The point I'm making is we should listen to what they say, but then don't just take that right. Yeah, he's right. I'm going to go for Romero.
Or Carragher.
Really?
Or Carragher for Paulinho. Remember saying he was poor. Poor signings. I mean, without Paulinho, where would we be still? Seriously.
Look, I totally agree. Although Carragher's won things in the game, right? So I will listen to him and then I'll say, mate, you got that wrong. That was a
single him out in that Chelsea game where every single player in that team, no one got out of that game with any credit. Maybe what's name with a save or so, but It was terrible.
I'm not saying to people in the chat you can't have a say and you shouldn't listen. What I'm saying is I don't like it when someone who's won nothing wants to criticize and isolate one player in our team who's actually won. Romero has won more trophies than any other Spurs player. Nobody at our club has won more than Romero. So I don't expect someone that's won nothing to call him out. How's about you say today he had a bad game and this is why? But overall this season, Tottenham are much better when Romero plays. He doesn't say that though. He just guns him down. Mari got the data.
Especially as part of the criticism is that he's a bit of a psycho, right? And wasn't Stuart Pearce also known for being a bit of a psycho?
Called psycho.
I mean, why are we doing it?
Call him psycho.
Hot kettle black.
If he criticised Richarlison, you've got a whole season of data to say, yeah, look at him. But this season, the amount of games we lose compared to the amount of games we don't lose is significantly better when Romero plays. And likewise, Romero, when you look at the data, when you compare Van der Ven, Danzo, and Romero this season, overall, from a defensive point of view, Romero's actually come out on top. I thought Van der Ven was going to be the top one. I really thought it. Romero came out on top. So I just think the criticism Romero gets from the media, from our own fans, it's bullshit. He's not world class. And I don't call Romero world class, but he's a good centre back. He's
a class over many, though, isn't he?
He's the next level.
He's world class at certain disciplines. There's no better centre back, in my opinion, in the league with a ball at his feet.
Oh my God, yeah.
Sorry, Lubo, what were you going to say?
He's one level down, but for me, where Pearce was right was actually picking and seeing. Romero lost his head. We went one down, and we needed a captain to rally the troops, and his head went, and that was a ridiculous challenge that got him booked. Mental.
Yeah, so
he shouldn't have been anywhere near him. He was way out of position. He got caught out in midfield another time. There was a third time where he lost the ball and he didn't even jog back. Bentancur, you saw Bentancur go past him, and that's unacceptable for Romero. Now, I think he's had a very, very good season. Listen, every player has a bad game. Mickey had one against Chelsea. Hang on. Mickey had a bad game last week. Romero had a bad game this week. But by and large, those two have been terrific this season.
Yeah, but that's not what's said, though. What is said
No, I know it wasn't what's said.
It's literally the knives are out. I'm just going to gun for Romero.
I know.
But the balanced criticism is you had an absolute stinker. That was nowhere near good enough because your standards, you've shown us, are much better than that. But that's not how it's pitched. The pitch is, he's a problem. Look at this.
And you know what? They produce all these stats on Sky. They bring them up. The favourite one is when this player plays, when this player doesn't play, right? That's the stat they always bring up, right? And if you bring up the stat, when Cuti Romero doesn't play, we don't win. We're shit. We're shit. We definitely are worse without him in the team. It's as simple as that, whether you like him or not. That is the fact. It's there in stats.
You're not going to get still. You're not going to get eloquence like you get from Simon Jordan with Stuart Pearce, are you?
No.
Listen, people in the
poor man Sean Butler. People once referred to him, or was it the way around?
Simon Jordan.
Simon Jordan.
Can I just say, people in the chat, you've lost your freaking minds. Okay, you're literally heads gone. A lot of you. The point I'm making is, some of you saying you wouldn't have an issue if Pearce criticised Mustafi. Mustafi's never been good in the Premier League. There's no data to show Mustafi's been good. The point I'm making is,
where did Mustafi come from?
Pearce deliberately tried to...
Mustafa Pine.
Mustafa minute to do some super chats once Sel's finished doing his.
Well,
the point I'm making to you Spurs fans watching this show, right? Make sure you subscribe and like. You are watching us, of course. The point I'm trying to make is this: you cannot be criticising a player who's been good for the team this year, who's been good for the club in general. Yes, he has some bozo moments. Yes, he has the odd stinker. But if you're going to criticise him, please acknowledge all the good he's done as well. Let's not forget he was our man of the match in the Europa Cup final. So, but none of that is covered.
Players
Still,
It's just Stuart Pearce
It's
is going in, though.
still-
There's no genuine Tottenham fans that are criticising Romero.
Oh, a
apart
lot
from-
do, though, Sean. A lot do criticise him. Last season, get him out of the club. He obviously wants to leave. Still, he says if
That's
Ange
an attitude. That's an attitude thing rather than a
because
skill
they
set thing.
believe the press, and then there was the rumours if he goes, if Ange goes, still.
It's Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to make, you can call out a player for having a crap game. You can call out a player for costing us a goal or being sent off. But can you also please comment on all the good he has done and give a balanced opinion? But that never happens with Romero. That never, ever happens. It's always, look at him, liability, dangerous player, rubbish.
I really appreciate that same grace towards players like Matty's Tell, like a Kolo Muani still. Yeah, there's a few players out there that
They
also
haven't been at
deserve
this
a little
club
bit.
long enough for us to even
Archie
have that
Gray.
chat yet.
Archie Gray.
See, Richarlison, he's been here for 3 years. He has proven he's rubbish. He's proven he's rubbish.
Guys, I got to do some super chats. I have to run some super chats.
Can you send that to Muani while he's recovering from his jaw operation?
Yeah, maybe he'll come back and actually score a goal. Might motivate him.
Let's run some chats quickly. By the way, guys, there's over 700 people here. There has been 740 people here. Really appreciate that for a Monday night after that. As we go into the 2-week breaks, really good numbers. So appreciate your attention. Hopefully, we're putting on a show for you that's at least keeping your eyes open a little bit. Big up to Dino, who